Alright guys, welcome back to another operaomnia video where we are going to be talking about what I feel like may be the next upcoming LDs coming to JP for the month of May. Now, of course, this is not a guarantee like, yes, it's going to happen. We're going to get this character and this character. I don't want to throw that idea that I am saying, hey, these are the characters that, they may get an LD at some point. The only reason why I'm doing this video is because if you have or have not noticed, for this month in JP, they have been focusing on archers who do ranged type of attacks. So we had Maria, we just had Lena, and then we also had Cain. Now Cain, his attacks are actually ranged based attacks. So it makes me wonder, what could they potentially do for the month of May? What could they actually bring? Could they continue the trend on focusing on range-based attackers, or will they change it up completely and focus on other things? Now, again, this is just my speculation. This is just me kind of predicting what may happen, what may not happen. Of course, there are characters that I really do wish could get an LD, like here, now, today, tomorrow, whenever. But kind of just going based off of how things have been going so far, I think that JP DFFOO might just continue the trend, the little trend of them focusing on ranged-based attackers. Now, first things first, I do have Yuri on the screen, and I do want to mention that Yuri, as I'm making this video today, because today is the April 25th, she will be getting an LD tonight, so she is going to be excluded. Now, also, another thing to note is that I am only going based off of characters who have not gotten their LD weapons yet in JP. I am not going based off of anything else. So when I look through the list of characters that have not gotten an LD, I picked out characters that had more than 2 abilities that would range type of attacks. So that's another thing that I wanted to throw out there before, there's a little confusion like, oh, well, why is this person on here when they have a different weapon type? So I'm going based off of the range type of abilities, if they have more than 2, on with them being a potential candidate for getting an LD weapon. So Yida is out of there for her to getting her LD weapon tonight. Saz was hinted in the last data download we had in JP when Cain got his LD weapon. Now, it's not 100% confirmed. We don't know if it's coming up just yet. I mean, it might get updated tonight with the data download for Yida's LD weapon, but as of right now, he is hinted. It is not 100% confirmed, but just with that right there, once I learned that the data miners found Saz or hints for Saz, I immediately, it just clicked in my mind, like they have to they must be continuing to follow characters that have range-based attacks. So Sa is a good possibility that he might be getting an LD weapon soon. Next up is Fran. Now, Fran was synergy not too long ago in Queen's event, right? And so you would think that, okay, well, then most likely she is going to get an LD weapon whenever Queen's Lost Chapter comes, right? Well, yes, it could be possible, but you never know at this point, because it has happened before where the data miners said that this character was going to get this and that, and then all of a sudden they did a 360 and another character came out instead. So the possibility of Fran may or may not be possible. I mean, it was hinted in the data miners info, but last month. So it's already been a month and nothing yet on Fran. So we don't know if she's going to be getting an LD weapon or not, but the chances are still there for her to be getting it. Next up for range attackers will be Cater. Cater is range-based attacks. She also has that good evasion. She has ice-based attacks. She has that ice impale. So there's a possibility that, they might decide to, hey, finally show some love to Cater, because Cater has not gotten any love ever since she got her EX+. So she might be a candidate. We don't know. Next up is going to be Irvine. Now, I feel like Irvine might just be a good candidate only because he has that range in peril, which will help out anybody who does range-based attacks to get that extra brave damage in, or basically just do weakness damage onto the enemies. He is a pretty good possibility that we may see him, if they continue the trend of range-based attackers, for him to get an LD next month. But, we'll have to see. Next up is going to be Balthier. Now, it is about that time that JP does receive Balthier's LD, and most likely he may just get a rework, but hey, we don't know. Because we have seen already that some characters who have gotten LD weapons have not gotten a rework, and some of these characters are actually doing just fine. Whether you agree with me or not on that statement, I am pretty firm on that statement that a lot of some of the characters, not all of them, but some of the characters who have received an LD weapon are doing just fine, even if they didn't get a rework. And my example would be Cain. Cain, with his LD ability, it gives him so much more. But I feel like with his skill 1 and skill 2, even his EX ability, I mean, he still performs just fine. It's just that with that stacking mechanic that he now has with his LD ability, it helps in getting those stacks up. It's like another way of getting those stacks up. But I feel like he's still doing pretty good damage, in my opinion. But of course, this is my opinion, of course. I mean, you guys can, argue with me that, I could be wrong. And, you guys are more than welcome to throw out opinions out there. But in my opinion, I think Cain is just fine with just his LD. Yeah, he didn't get a rework. I mean, maybe when they up the difficulty, that might change. I don't know. But as of right now, I think he is just fine with what he just received. But with Balthier, though, it has been about, 2-3 months already since Balthier's Global First LD was released in Global. So that timing, because normally, and I'm going by this by how Aranea was released in Global, and then like a few months later she got released in JP, right? So I'm timing it based off of that, where he I feel like there's a strong possibility we might actually just see his LD weapon appear in JP for the month of May. If they do, I'd be very curious as to see what they would do to Balthier. I feel like he could get a potential rework, just because, I mean, the main thing about him is just that he steals buffs. He cleanses with his LD ability, which I'm assuming they're going to be doing or still continue to do in JP. But I'm really, really curious if maybe they might give him a range resist down. I mean, that would be pretty nice. That would make him pretty spicy, but we'll see. Next up, King. King has not gotten any love since he got his EX Plus. He has been on many banners as kind of like that EX weapon that you kind of just throw out there into banners. He has been in many, many banners. He has not gotten any love. I think it may be difficult, but hey, I'm not a creator of this game, so I don't know. But I feel like it may be difficult to try to give him, or to basically completely change up his kit. Because I feel like he needs a whole lot more potency. He definitely needs a good amount of extra attack, because I feel like he definitely needs it. But I think the potency is what he is really, really lacking. Because, I mean, the main thing about him is that once you use his skill 1 and skill 2 to recharge your ability usage, I mean, that's really like the one noticeable thing about him. So him being a candidate or finally getting an LD and maybe a rework could potentially be possible. You don't know. Like I said, it's been forever since he's gone to love. Next up is going to be Vincent. Now, Vincent, we already know that a lot of these like side games, right, for a lot of these Final Fantasies has been confirmed that they could be getting a BT weapon, right? Well, with Vincent, since Vincent was released after Balthier, we could also see Vincent come up, and he may or may not get an LD weapon and or a BT weapon, since he does have his own game. So the chances of that happening could be very strong, where they might release him in mid-May and give him his LD, his BT, and then I guess the rework is in question at this point. Yeah, the possibility is very, very strong with him. There is a very strong possibility that he could be a mid-May BT character. But of course, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what OPOP is focusing on, and figure out like which characters they are focusing with. So Vincent is definitely a strong candidate, and it is about that time where we should see his LD weapon in JP. Next up is going to be Knight Cecil. Now, I know what you're going to say. He's a sword type of a character. How does this work? Well, if you look at his command abilities, his EX and his LD weapon both have range attack and also his skill 1. So he's mainly a ranged type of attacker. And of course, the skill 2 is what pretty much makes him launch, right? So there is a possibility, since he already has this LD weapon, there is a possibility that he might just get LD board soon. There could be a chance if they are gonna start focusing on ranged type of attacks. So the chances of Dark Knight Cecil getting an LD, well, I guess like LD extension and all that other shindig, it could be out there. It could possibly happen. Next up is Firion. Now, with the whole BT plus thing and how like some of the older characters is getting a BT plus, Firion is an excellent candidate actually to get a BT plus. He has 4 ranged attacks. So the possibility of him getting LD extensions, BT plus, it's very much likely that he could be a returning BT character to be getting a BT plus. And if he does, that would be fantastic, because I mean his kit, with the follow-up from his LD weapon, the fact that he heals with his skills, and then of course with his BT weapon, well hell, I already forgot what his BT effect does, but like we have not seen anything about him. We have not seen his LD or BT rerun, if I'm not mistaken. So the chances of that could also be possible. He might be a returning LD for the beginning of May. He might be for mid-May, or even for the end of May. The possibilities could be out there, guys. We don't know. Next up, Laguna. Laguna, range attacks. He has all those debuffs and whatnot. He has that crazy EX ability that I love to see. He is also a candidate for, he's a candidate for getting an LD possibly next month. Sid Highwind, I know he's a javelin type, but his attacks, he has 3 ranged attacks. Cain just got an LD weapon, and his attacks are range based, so I don't see why they could not do the same thing for Sid. So he might be a possibility as well. Yuri, oddly enough, does have 2 range based attacks. If I'm not mistaken, Yuri is also a possible candidate to get a BT weapon. So unless they are going to hold off on giving him his BT and give him his LD now, kind of like what they did with Zach, the chances of that may or may not happen. We'll have to see. Next up, Noctis. Now, Noctis has all his entire kit except for his EX is pretty much all range-based attacks. He is another candidate that we could see to be getting a BT plus here very, very soon if they continue that trend that I mentioned earlier. And if he does get a BT plus, he is going to be nutty. I really feel like they might just rework him again. And I feel like with his BT plus, he is going to be insane. Because you have all those follow-ups and everything, right? But like, what else could they potentially give him? Like his BT, like in general, like may actually buff him up so good. Like he might just turn out to be extremely good with a BT plus. But we'll have to see. But he is, I feel like he might be one of our returning BT characters for the month of May. Next up is going to be Fang. Fang, she does have 1 ranged attack, which I know I said that I mentioned too. Actually, I don't even know why I put it on the list. I think it's because I've been saying that I've been wanting Fang for the longest time. But I know why. I chose her because of the fact that Cain did get an LD weapon. I know that Cain's attacks are range based, but it doesn't mean that her LD ability could not also be ranged as well. So you never know. I don't know why I threw this in here, honestly. But I mean, I guess I think that's the reason why. It's because I think that her LD weapon may just be ranged as well. So she could be a candidate. You never know. Next up is Freya. Freya is also a javelin character as well. I guess like weapon type javelin, whatever. Or dragoon if you want to go with that. She does have 2 ranged attacks. She is there's a possibility she could get an LD. She could finally get some love because she has not gotten any love since she got her EX. Well, same for Fang. Fang has not gotten any love since his EX. It's been what, 2 years maybe? Yeah, I think it's about time. And yeah, so Freya was my last character that I thought of that could be a potential LD or could get an LD weapon. But, you know, again, this is all just speculations. I mean, of course, there are many other characters that do need some love. Obviously, Rem, she definitely needs some love. We got Edge, and we got, a couple other characters that could definitely get some love at some point. But I think if they do continue this trend where they are going to focus on range-based units or units that have any range-based attacks, then the ones that I've mentioned so far could be a potential candidate for getting an LD next month. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know. I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this. I know there's going to be some comments to be like, well, I wish this character would get an LD. I wish, believe me, I wish a lot of these characters can get an LD or some love in general. Like, seriously, like they have been on the bench for forever. And it's about time that they finally get some love. Plus, I feel like so I wanted to, no, actually, I'm going to save that for another video. Yeah, I'm definitely going to save that for another video. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know, if you guys feel the same way based off of how they have been releasing characters in this month in JP. And yeah, that's going to be it. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. And I will catch you guys in the next video.